a seminar or webinar this morning on pet wellness. We appreciate your time. I'm Rebecca Rose. I'm the president and founder of InClover. We're going to talk about this morning about pet wellness and specifically areas of arthritis, digestive health, immune health, and dental health. First, I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of our company. First, let me introduce you to Terry Furman. She's our Director of Sales and Marketing. I know that most of you have talked with her. Terry has 30 years of sales and marketing and advertising experience, and she is developing all of our marketing pieces, and the thing that she wants most is to get your feedback and your suggestions. She wants to make sure that we're creating tools that work for you and things that are actually useful and are things that are helpful in educating your customers. And this is a picture of Terry with her dog, Millie. And we are a dog-friendly office, so you'll see the pictures of our dogs in here that are with us in the office. Just to give you a little bit of an overview of what's happening in our marketplace, as parents are humanizing their pets more, it's being extended into understanding how the supplements are benefiting their furry kids. And so what we're seeing is a large growth in this market, expected to be 5.8% increase annually through 2014. And as people become more proactive in their pets' care, supplementation allows them to avoid other health care costs, which can be much more expensive than being proactive with supplementation. This is a picture of me and Floyd, my dog. I'm the president, as I said, of InClover, and my experience and background is in the science side of it. I have a degree in biochemistry. I'm also the author of 3 patents on the composition and method of treating joint disorder in vertebrates. Prior to starting InClover, I was working in the area of women's health care with the National Institutes of Health and Center for Disease Control. So I was doing a lot of clinical studies in the work that I was doing, and I used that, the education that I had and experience that I had gotten in doing clinical studies to actually test our supplements to ensure that they were effective and gentle and safe. So InClover is the first company to undergo scientific research on pet supplements because of the background that I came into the company with. I felt like it was important to make sure that the products worked, that we could see results quickly, and that people with one container would see significant results. I also feel very passionate about the fact that we do have transparent labeling and adhere to those standards, and this appeals to our educated customer base. All of our products are made in the United States, and we have the NASC quality seal on all of our products. And there's a picture on this slide of the NASC seal. And what that means is that our company has passed rigorous testing and audits that say that what is inside the bottle is actually what's in there when the customer buys it, not just when it leaves our distribution center, but when the customer buys it. And how we know that, we go through several different testing protocols. One is that we're required to be audited by an external auditor who comes in and checks all of our procedures. The second thing that we do is we adhere to adverse event reporting. And so any adverse events on our products get called in and they're put into a database that the FDA has access to. In over 11 years, we've never had any serious adverse events with any of our products, but everything is recorded and it's in a database. So if you want to know how safe is one of the ingredients in our product, we have thousands and thousands of administrations. We can give you reports to show you just how safe that ingredient is. And we also adhere to it's sort of a secret shopper program, and that's where an NASC auditor will go in, purchase our products at the shelf level, and have them tested by an independent laboratory. So all of those things will help to make you feel more comfortable in standing behind our products. The product groupings that we have the Connectin line, which is a line for joint support. We have Optigest, which is a line for digestive and immune support for both dogs and cats. All of our products are for both dogs and cats, except for the Grin Daily Treats, and that's specifically for dogs. And that is a functional treat to help with fresh breath and tartar control. The first area that we'll talk about is joint pain. And I should let you know that at the end of this presentation, we'll have a time where you can ask questions. You can type in any questions that you have. Also, the presentation will be available for you if you would like to have it. So don't feel compelled to take detailed notes if you want to just listen, and then we can provide you with a copy of the presentation afterwards. So the first area we'll talk about is joint pain. That's the #1 chronic condition in dogs and cats. About 25% of all dogs will develop joint pain, and about 20% of cats will develop joint pain. And even though this is a huge category, what we find is that people are still not educated as to the symptoms of joint pain and what they can do about it, that there is relief for their pets if they're seeing things. Like difficulty getting up, difficulty completing a walk, with a cat, difficulty grooming. So those are the things that you want the folks to look for, and then to think about, well, I know that there's an option that I can get fast relief. When I say that we're the first, Connectin is the first product to go through scientific research, oftentimes what you see with companies is that they'll say that there's one of their ingredients that has been clinically tested to work with a certain condition. We didn't do it that way. What we did is we actually took Connectin exactly like it is sold now, either in the chewable tablet form. We did one of our clinical studies on chewable tablets, or in the powder form. We did 2 different clinical studies. And we did a complete independent veterinarian study that was placebo-controlled. And what that means is that some of the animals in the study received the Connectin product and others received just oat flour, and so something that wasn't going to help them. And then we compared the results by looking at a very quantitative measurement. And that was pressure plate analysis. And what that told us was how much weight the animals could put on each of their 4 paws. And what we found in the clinical study was that Connectin works not only very quickly in 15 days, but it works on a huge population of animals. Over 89% showed statistically significant relief of symptoms. And that was the first time that a complete clinical study had been done on, with pressure plate quantitative analysis, had been done on a joint supplement. So that is a huge point of difference with Connectin, and it tells you that the product works. It works in a broad population of animals, and that it works quickly. We saw that not only did the product work in 15 days, but that the animals in the study that were diagnosed with, through x-rays, as having arthritis in one of their joints, we also saw that the joint next to it, what's called the contralateral limb, also showed improvement. So what that told us was that even though they hadn't yet been diagnosed with arthritis in that other joint, it was starting to become a problem for them, and it was starting to have some symptoms. And the reason that sometimes you think that animals can be very stoic, dogs and cats, with joint disabilities, is because there are no nerve endings in the joint. And so when you finally see the symptoms showing up, the animal has already had some degradation of the joint. So what you want to do is start with a product like Connectin early, and also use it as a preventive. So use it in the maintenance amount. So half of the recommended starting loadings amount is a maintenance amount. And what we recommend, I'll step back a minute, what we recommend is when you start on Connectin, you start with a loading amount so that you get all of the ingredients into the bloodstream. And that we recommend for 2 to 4 months. In our clinical study, we found that people continued to see improvement over 2 to 4 months. on that loading amount. And then they could go back down into a maintenance amount, which is 1/2 of the amount, and continue to hold that improvement even while they were using a relatively small amount of the product. So what we recommend for preventive use is to start on that maintenance amount. The product is very gentle, and we saw no side effects with the clinical studies. Now we're going to launch a poll just to get an idea of how much knowledge you have of the area of joint health. And this is a really difficult question, but select all of the answers. There's more than one answer, and then we'll go through it. I'll give you a minute to complete the poll. Okay, so the poll is complete, and the answers to the poll, there are 3 answers. The joint building blocks that a healthy pet's body would naturally produce: glucosamine, chondroitin, and hyaluronic acid. And the reason all 3 are important is because the glucosamine is what rebuilds the joint. The chondroitin is what makes the joint more elastic and able to move a greater range of motion. And the hyaluronic acid, and this is the one that most of us forget about, is the lubricant for the joint. And so that's like the WD-40 for joints, and that's a very important component of keeping the joint moving smoothly and healthy. With Connectin, we found that by supplementing with all 3 of these joint building blocks, we were able to produce the most effective combination. We also found that just having the 3 joint building blocks was not enough. We needed to also combine 9 natural herbs to work synergistically, and what these are doing is with a joint that has pain and is arthritic or has signs of arthritis, what you'll see is an increase in swelling, you'll see more fluid around the joint, and you'll see pain. And the herbs that we use specifically address those symptoms of joint disorder. They allow these joint building blocks, the glucosamine, the chondroitin, and the hyaluronic acid, to work without having to work quickly and effectively without having to wait sometimes 2 months to see results if you just use a glucosamine. And it also works without side effects, so it's very, very gentle.